Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be a channeled twin flame energy reading. And so, wow, there was a major energy shift for me on my own personal journey. And I wanted to talk about this energy shift in case you are also in this shift, Divine Feminine. We've got some really powerful energies playing out. A big energy that keeps coming through for me is Virgo. And I know that we're on the precipice of this North Node shift, and the Aries Libra energy is at play along with the Taurus Scorpio. But I've really been in this energy axis of alchemizing Virgo and Pisces energy. And so 59 was a really big number sync for me. And so 59 is this energy I feel coming through with the Saturn retrograde. We go through our second Saturn return around the age of 59. But I just feel this intimacy catalyst is coming through for many of the Divine Feminines. I feel there's this deep inner child sacral chakra healing going on for the feminine. Almost like this intimacy catalyst is kind of like this aura breaker. And so I've recently come in contact with, I'm not sure what type of soulmate, but it's been a very vulnerable, honest, and intimate connection over the last couple of days, and a very sexual energy. And so that's why I feel like this intimacy catalyst. Give me 1 second, guys. So there's this sexual energy I feel coming through for the Divine Feminine Collective, and the newfound potential I feel to bond with a new soulmate is kind of what it feels coming through. And so I feel like this giddy little schoolgirl. The energy is just so honest, so intimate, so intense. And I do feel there's like this very intense twin telepathy going on in dream space, in the astral realms. And so Virgo was a very prominent energy that I felt collectively when it comes to like this dispersion of almost like this sexuality. And so like the energy that kind of was awakened, I do feel this energy too of like the sleeping phoenix is awakening. It really was this intimate, energetic connection beyond words, this sexual, intimate, energetic connection beyond words. And so I do feel like the barriers are breaking down. I do feel this gateway opening to achieve twin flame union at this time is what it feels like. And so this very intense sexual energy is potent. I feel it's bringing forward this potential for a deep, sensual, fertile, intimate connection. And it might even result in some type of life creating union coming up here. And so like I'm feeling really, really good. So I do feel like this is like an unexpected strike. I do feel this is coming in like a tower for me, an unexpected tower. It's definitely kind of reinvigorated my vitality over the last coming days, or the last several days. And it's like brought forward like this deeper understanding of my core purpose, and being able to recognize like, hey, I think maybe finally I can head in a new direction. I feel these barriers have been lifted, these barriers, these limitations, these blockages have been lifted. Because before it was almost like I was in a chastity belt and I wasn't able to penetrate those blockages, those sexual blockages. But I feel a repositioning in the energies with this shift. And so I do feel this really is triggering, though, some deep indecisiveness on the masculine side as to how and when to act. I do feel they are feeling this shift, and it's creating all kinds of limitations of uncertainty when it comes to their auric field and the energies that they're kind of working with at this point in time. And so restraint, I'm like, that was a big thing, like restraint, right? The pull, the pull to this new unexpected connection is just undeniable. And so it's also like just bring me like this glow up energy. And so restraint or not, right, I feel is going to be key as well. Because so oftentimes too, the divine feminine will create her own self-imposed barriers of moving forward, when we are in this separateness or in this separation stage, as a protection, right? Because of fears of, going towards a soulmate and it bringing inevitable destruction or instability, or even the fear of, is it going to endanger union with the counterpart. But a lot of these unions have been calculating their withdrawal, right? They've been in a calculated state of withdrawal. There's been no movement, no communication, because a lot of the divine masculines are so deeply rooted in these psychological barriers, in that karmic dynamic with that karmic individual, that it really has restricted any form of interaction with the divine feminine. And I know for myself, I've been on the journey for many, many years now, and I'm ready to go forward. It's like my sex drive was just like reactivated after many years of celibacy. And so I don't know, right? Because a lot of these masculines maintain the position of separateness, and there really has not been any action when it comes to them shifting their outer conditions. So I do feel the feminine is being exalted with the Saturn retrograde energy, especially connected to the Pisces energy. Give me one sec, guys. I had to get my little one to turn down the iPad, but I do feel the feminine's exalted with the Saturn retrograde energy in Pisces. So really pay attention to where Pisces is at. For me, it's in my house of self-identity. And I know for me on this journey, it has been a deeply rooted search for my self-identity, to create that personal security for myself. And I do feel like I finally achieved the ability to once and for all drop those barriers to intimacy, in order to redefine maybe what I'm looking for in a relationship moving forward. And so I do feel this walk-in energy is bring forward a newfound sense of empowered stability for the feminine when it comes to being able to achieve intimate union with another. And so I do feel there's this openness being transformed in the energies with a lot of the divine feminines. And it may or may not create more karmic problems. I can't really say for sure. So I just feel like fellowship really is key. I also feel like a lot of the feminines hold back from going into another intimate connection after the awakening of the twin journey, because of fear of being called promiscuous. And so that does go back thousands of years, right? That goes back all the way to the Mary Magdalene and the Jesus timeline. But I do feel this sexual intimacy is bring forward a new spiritual and intellectual understanding. And so I do feel like the masculine is kind of being pushed into action, though, because I feel the feminine's going to be having a very hard time restraining this sexual drive to go towards this new connection. And so it's like major themes of magnetic attraction. I've spoken to a few other divine feminines, and we're like these magnets right now. And so this is what I would call like an intimacy catalyst, because this person kind of come out of nowhere unexpectedly, divinely orchestrated, I gotta say. And this person's got some power over me when it comes to breaking down any barriers to being open to love again. And so just very unexpected lightness that kind of just fell in my lap a few nights ago. And so it's like this energy is carrying no negative connotation with it. And so there's like this major power of sexuality that has kind of been activated. And so I feel a lot of the feminines have the ability to attract others right now very easily in the energies. And then we throw in the Uranus factor, and we do have the sun aspecting Uranus, the sun in Cancer aspecting Uranus in Taurus. And so this really is the detriment to the divine masculine, I feel, in the energies where all of these negative vices becomes very evident as to what's been holding him back. A lot of the masculines go on these gigolo adventures, and they unhealthily express their power of sexuality. And so I think we're kind of on this precipice or this pivot point. Many of the feminines, I think we're at a pivot point. We can go towards a one night stand, or maybe it could be union for a moment or turn into something long term. But I do feel like the potential is there for the feminine to be able to kind of break down those barriers. And so it's going to be based on your own personal journey, your own personal circumstances. And we have the ability to accept or reject any temporary unions. But I feel there's like almost like an impossible, dangerous energy attached to this, right? Because a lot of the feminines know the perfected relationship that we could have for eternity with the divine counterpart. But those moments can be fleeting if the masculine chooses to stay stuck in the limitations. And so there is a power shift. And I do feel, regardless of the conditions, the feminine is being asked to move towards intimacy. And so this is going to trigger a lot of diversity. And so it's like the gateway of mating, new relationship forms, mating is coming up in the energies. And so I do feel huge potential for sexual bonding. And this will maybe penetrate whatever has been blocking the auric fields between the twins. It might just be an intimate catalytic experience. It might just be a one night stand, but I do feel when we penetrate and break down all of these barriers to intimacy, we can step into entering these new creative forms, maybe new creative business adventures with somebody. I definitely saw the possibility there with a new creative venture. Just the energy was just off the charts. And so I just feel new opportunities, new relationships. It's important to use discernment at this time because I do feel whatever's coming, it is going to benefit the way that we approach our humanitarian mission, the way we teach others how to approach bonding within relationships. And so I feel like the focus for the feminine right now is on selecting the best partner for producing the most viable new creative venture that I feel the feminine is embarking on with this nodal shift. And so I feel it's really the only one that has a really big choice to make right now, I feel, would be the feminine when it comes to the matter of entering into a new intimate relationship or not. And so I do feel like there's this warm, deep energy intensifying within the collective. I think sensitivity is also on overdrive. And it's just this energy of wanting to touch, taste, and smell and be intimate with another. And I do feel this is bringing forward all kinds of confusion and conflict in the masculine's life when it comes to that very unproductive partnership or union. And I do feel like he's looking to the feminine right now. And I do think he's feeling like he's kind of running out of time. And so Virgo energy came through 55, 555 has been showing up a lot, 888. And I do feel there's this abundance energy also flooding into the collective. And so abundance really is connected to spirit. It is a question of spirit. It is a question of our spiritual, emotional presence, I feel. Because when we are fully abundant and present in the moment, there is no matter of physical abundance. It's just this wonder of life, right? And so that's what was kind of reactivated, was this wanderlust energy. This just wanderlust energy kind of was reinvigorated within the chakra body for me, which created all kinds of sexual expansion, powerful life force energy kind of reactivated through this connection. And so I do feel prosperity, the potential through cooperation to build abundance, because the forces, when we bring these powerful forces together and we concentrate on the harmonics of the energy between two within a relationship, that is what allows us to provide this continuity for advancement and growth, right? We're here to help each other grow into our fullest potentials, and to support one another's dreams and visions and futures. And so, huge potential for combining forces, harmonizing forces, and will be for the benefit of our spiritual purpose. And so, I do feel there's a little energy of like falling back and maybe distrusting this magnetic force of a man that might be being presented to you, divine feminine. But I do feel we're being asked to stay centered as all of this energy disperses, and I feel newfound awareness relating to our spiritual talents, our gifts, and we can feel when somebody's truthfulness is genuine or not. And so what I felt was this genuinity, this emotional stability, this strength. I felt this very yummy masculine strength. And so I'm so used to being only dependent on myself, and I can be very untrusting of others. And so that might be a direct challenge when it comes to breaking down barriers. I also feel there's a lot of slandering going on in the background when it comes to people that have taken advantage of the feminine. And so that is a big part of the journey too, is overcoming the distrust, the slandering, the defamation of character, and finding the emotional drive to insist on moving forward, knowing that we're going to find that trustworthiness in another. So I feel like the feminine's in this place of innocence, of deep inner child healing. A lot of the feminines, we kind of have to follow the orders of the divine when we're awakened to this mission. And I feel a lot of times we are genuinely deflected from a lot of these walk-in soul contracts. But I feel there's potential because the form of this new energy is correct. And I do feel like a newfound actualization is bringing forward. So there is a possibility for a new emotional beginning, but it is still going to require putting our best efforts forward, right? And failure is always possible no matter what. So I feel with Mars and Virgo, this is where we're kind of struggling in the energies, where a lot of the divine masculines are struggling. And they're trying to break away from all of this conformity to try and initiate their own individuality as well. But it's like everything right now kind of has to come down into complete ruin for the divine masculines, because they've been hiding behind this shield, hiding behind this mask. They've been selfishly protecting their everything at the expense of others. And so it's like, I feel this intimacy catalyst is here to assimilate the final breakdown, the final tower, to establish this new framework, these new balanced principles, and this new energy that's going to lead to all kinds of expansion and all kinds of prosperity for the Twin Flame Collective when we come into that union energy. And so a lot is coming into our emotional awareness as to what is balanced, what is imbalanced and unbalanced in these principled energies. And so growth does require emotional openness though, right? And to break free from the risk of falling back into conditioning or conformity. And so there's all of this boundless energy. And I do feel like it doesn't have a lot of restraint to it. And so we can't ignore the perfect timing to take that risk, right? It kind of is the energy of like, take a leap of faith now and think about it later, like act now, think later, because these doorway opportunities can be very fleeting very quickly. And so if the energy isn't pounced on, the energy can be lost as well. And so there is like an integrative process happening when it feels to power delegation within the collective. And so it takes a lot of emotional strength to step into this spiritual derived mission that we came here for this ascension process. And so we cannot go into this journey with selfishness. We can't be selfish. We can be selfish when it comes to self-care, but not at the expense of others. And so I do feel there's this beautiful function within these spiritual shifts right now where we can shift our perceptions through what we are feeling, what we are emoting in the moment. And I do feel there's a lot of moodiness, there's a lot of purging, there's a lot of feelings coming up. And so I feel there's this like melancholy coming in as the feminine taps into this new chemistry, creating this emotional wave, like a tsunami wave, creating the obsession. Yeah, just this like overly obsessing thought process towards the feminine. A lot of the masculines have been indirectly alienating themselves. They've really held on to the spirit of materialism. And so I do feel, although it appears that all of this material abundance exists for the divine masculine, it's like it really isn't serving anybody because he's not sharing his light. And so I feel with the moon in Cancer, a lot of these masculines are going to have to shed the materialism, which really has become an obsessive, compulsive need. A lot of the masculines hoard, they don't like to share. And so we're in this gateway of initiation of our emoting emotions. Like we're emoting, we're linking all of these energies through the chakra body, and we're going through our deeply seated emotions. And so we can't have this full awareness and understanding of spirit or these concepts of these esoteric Gnostic gifts if we do not go into the emotions. And so the emotions are held in the sacral and in the solar plexus. And this abundance, this incoming abundance, is a function of our spiritual processing. And so we have to perceive what we are feeling. We have to understand the energies that we are experiencing. And we have to disperse this melancholic chemistry in order to embrace this emotional wave that's coming forward to reach a new cycle of hope. But we do have to go through the pain first. And so I feel the masculine's in a roller coaster of emotion. One minute his cup feels half empty, the next minute it feels half full. He's up and down and all around, and there's all kinds of social settings kind of creating all of this chaos and conflict. I feel as he moves through this cycle, it's like he feels no matter where he's at, he feels all alone. And I feel he hasn't made any attempt to explain himself or to honor this connection, which is increasing the moodiness. And this is where he has to own his own creative inner self and go into that inner child healing as well. And so I do feel, though, our most creative time is in these states of deep melancholy, the dark night of the soul, these states of depression. I do feel like he's praying for a thoughtful word from the feminine. But I do feel this very emotional energy in this feeling state from a lot of the masculines. But I do feel the feminine is open. This is definitely provoking a major shift of perception. Because if the masculine doesn't feel his soul, feel his spirit, and emote and open up to these emotions, he'll never find anything in comparison to the divine feminine. And I do feel he's in this internal debate because of all of the influences of the people around him. And he's being asked to arise out of this sleeping state, like the waking of the sleeping phoenix awaits. And so really the feminine holds this pure unconditional power, and that is the energy of love. And so I do feel the masculine is kind of feeling bullied by the universe when it comes to all of these past deeds coming up for reconciliation, retribution. And so the feminine is, releasing more and more negativity. She's feeling less heavy, less negative. And this is bringing in a powerful manifestation, and this is also triggering frustration on the flip side of the journey. And so this is an inevitable destiny, I feel, playing out over the coming days. Inevitable destiny. And so I do feel the karmic is displaying powers of retaliation as the energy is kind of gaining a lot of momentum. And so all of these impressive sources of energy are here to help us empower ourselves to move forward towards individualization as we enter into the age of Aquarius. And so it is this underlying celebration too, I feel, coming forward. Victory is like insight. Victory is in sight. So divine feminine, do not lose perspective. Keep your eye on the bigger picture, because the feminine's power is growing, growing, growing as victory is kind of in sight. And I do feel the masculine is being emotionally carried away by the smell of the victory on the divine feminine. And so, but this is the power of growth, right? And so the masculine is feeling extra limited, extra impatient, extra triggered. He's in his macho man energy. And I do feel he wants to come in displaying some amount of power. But I do feel there's a lot of forces surrounding the feminine, and the feminine is backed up by the ancestors and the higher energies as she goes through this exaltation, and steps into this natural, new defined role, I feel, as her divine feminine energy rises. And so communication is going to be needed, and a correction of the disinformation is going to have to be put all on the table if the masculine is going to redefine his role. And so I do feel triumph for the feminine, which is triggering this deep desire for change on the masculine's end, reflection of the impact of what the feminine has brought into his life. It's almost like the feminine has shone this light on this mandala within the masculine's heart. And as the feminine steps into absolute freedom and victory, this is where the masculine is being asked to tap into his unlimited use of cosmic energies, cosmic power. And I do feel he's going to have to restrain the excessive want for ego gratification at this time. So I feel the masculine is still dealing with lack of confidence, though, as this annihilation and this elimination process kind of proceeds, because the energies are so powerful right now. They really do have the power to completely destroy everything that the masculine has accomplished in order for this transfer of energies to take place, to step into our spiritual purpose. And so this resistance to release, this resistance to release and shed, and this difficulty in shedding and going through these metamorphoses when it comes to the old patterns that we need to reestablish, is only going to create more negative dealings and more resistance. And so we're in a very symbolized phase right now, I feel, on the twin flame journey. And so I don't think anything really is set in stone. And so it is going to be very discomforting as this disbursement, this release of energy kind of comes full circle. So we're really going to have to embrace common sense, because there's a lot of duality as well playing out. And we also need to know when to say enough is enough when it comes to certain cycles. I feel a lot of the masculines really have bitten off more than they can chew. And now it's time to, take it with a grain of salt and spit out what is no longer tasteful to the masculine. Is kind of what it feels like. But I do feel this enthusiastic energy overriding the feminine's better judgment too, with this intimacy catalyst as well. So this could lead to a lot of complications. That's why I always say use your discernment. It could lead to maybe the sapping of your vitality. But we are in the energy of death and transformation. That is undeniable as we reorient our inner archetype, our inner spiritual power, and we go through this integration gateway and channel of self-empowerment, more or less, right? And so I do feel our intuition is really empowering us when it comes to listening to what we really need to hear from the universe, to be able to harness our ability to manifest and thrive. And so I feel the feminine is very much admired at this time and sought after at this time, because her energy is just simply like just off the charts. But you do not want to make yourself available to just anybody divine feminine. You do still have to remain in your pure divine feminine power. You can't always be accessible to people, right? Because we are still here to be independent and unique, and to still act on our mission and our convictions for our mission. We are going to triumph, but we do also have to survive ourselves and our temptations. And so I do feel we're at the pivot point, the contemplation point. I do feel it's the energy of now or never is kind of what it feels like. And so we can't keep skimming the surface in relationships, right? We can't keep playing into all of this superficiality. We're far from the shallow, right? When it comes to this awakening journey. And so whatever is not transformed now and put into right action will bring definitely an existential crisis. I feel can't keep playing into superficial expressions with others or within our own self and personality. And so we're raising the bar, right? No more superficiality forms, no more superficial expressions. And so, a lot of us go into these dogmatist tendencies, right? The tendency to lay down these principles that many are like so untrue. And so we have to kind of reorient, reconsider, look at the evidence, stop listening to the opinions of others on the journey. That's a huge one. And so we think of dogmatism, it comes from Greek, the Greek word dogma. And so it really is, one's opinion, one's belief. And so we're restructuring our beliefs. And so dogmas are commonly described in religions, right? And so there are some fundamental principles that religion and the Bible offer. But we are here to open up to new etheric information, and to be considerate of releasing the lower terms of dogma, right? And so we can't stay in these closed-minded states if we're going to go into these higher thought processes. If we're going to reorganize our beliefs, and it can be very messy when we kind of have the veil of our reality refocused, recentered. It can be absolute breakdown energy, right? But I feel there's this new framework coming forward, creating this intolerance of these old behavioral patterns, these old relationship patterns. So I feel, the masculine's unwarranted arrogance has basically created these restrictions and limitations. And so I feel the masculine's really gone down a very narrow path right now. And he's going to have to go into some psycho self-analysis to understand the cause and effect of his actions, to go through a proper reattunement. So let's jump in with some cards. All right, let's jump in with the cards. I had to pause and get my daughter a snack. So I'm going to start off with the Spiritual Journey Oracle deck. And let's see what comes through. I cut the deck and one didn't want to stay in the deck. Oh, karmic lessons. That is what this is. This is a very karmic energy we are sitting in right now. We've got this grand square taking place with the North Node energy with Pluto. And so this is all happening at 29 degrees. So it's the energy of 1111, 1111 all over. And so we as twin flame souls, we did agree to incarnate this lifetime, to go through this human experience many, many lifetimes over and over again, to resolve these past life karmic debts. This is the lifetime that we do have to work through these very painful karmic lessons as we enter into the age of Aquarius. So how can you turn this painful lesson into an opportunity for growth? Because that is what we came here for, right? To evolve, to expand, and to grow right into a brand new life. And so we are on a major timeline shift, and things are going to look so different after this shift. And so the divine is kind of at work here. I've got massive tingles and goosebumps on the entire left side of my body, crown to toe right now. And so I do feel massive healing for the Divine Feminine Collective when it comes to all of the lies and the slander throughout the years, throughout the generations, and getting back to basics is kind of what it feels like. Interesting. We got Divine Masculine fell out with the Guardian Angels. Incoming messages, purge and cleanse, journey to fulfillment. So spend time in nature. I would love to, but it's like piss and rain outside where I'm at. So we're spending an extra day at home before we go on our weekend adventure tomorrow. But we need to retreat. So this is a time of going within with the Cancer new moon. It is about self-care, self-nurturing. We're going through a massive heart chakra purge and cleanse, sacral chakra purge. We're going through a major lower heart all the way to the root chakra purge. I do feel there is going to be an incoming message, whether it's an unexpected message from your counterpart or a walk-in like I've recently experienced a message that you were not expecting. Really, I'm serious. And so I do feel the message is going through a massive purge of negative people, behaviors, circumstances, negative vices, any elements, right, that have really prevented him from this deep, emotional, vulnerable, intimate connection, honest connection with the feminine. But I do feel, listen very intently. I do feel the masculine collective is protected and watched over as they are pushed forward with confidence. And so the feminine, I feel, just needs to reconnect to the raw beauty form of her femininity and connect with Mother Nature. I do feel the masculine is thinking about reaching out, whether you've recently come through in a dream for him. He's thinking about reaching out and sharing that with you. But there's a new experience coming, a new outlook coming. And so there's the veil of illusion. I actually picked up two. So Spirit's really guiding us on this journey right now. We've got a lot of ancestors coming through saying it's time to recognize where you've been complacent. Inaction is complacency, it's stagnancy. And so we need to choose to embrace stepping into this new higher experience. But that requires releasing fear. So there's that pivot point, right? We're at the fork in the road. You can choose the old patterns. You can choose the old patterns of being stuck in a relationship, feeling all alone, not being able to go towards learning the warmth of your own love and your own company out of fear of abandonment or fear of rejection. But we have to make this important decision. And if you don't make it, the universe is coming in. They got a plan and it's going to have substantial impact. Trust me, when it comes to reevaluating any destructive habits that remain. And so I do feel we're going through a paradigm shift is definitely what it feels like. So let's jump in with, what is this deck? I haven't used it in a while. The Sacred Geometry Activation deck. Okay. Hold on. Look at that. Alchemy and Crown Chakra. So there is a higher frequency attunement going on when it comes to the Twin Flame Alchemy, the Twin Flame activations. There's a very magical remembrance, I feel, in the energies playing out when it comes to the magic we hold inside our hearts, when it comes to these connections as well. We all have the potential to access this in the heart, twin flame journey or not. And so I do feel the feminine is really being allowed to step into her true alchemical performance, because you really have done a miraculous transmutation of these energies, I have to say, Divine Feminine. And so the crown chakra is supporting the activation of the violet flame, the violet flower of life. And it is supporting a reconnection to the spiritual universal energies as we do transmute all of this negativity back into the light. Let's see what else needs to come through for the twins. Discernment. That's the confirmation of practice your discernment to view this person around you from a detached emotional place, yet still with compassion and wisdom. 2 is also the energy of a pivot point, a decision needing to be made, solar plexus. So we are being supported as we come into this full understanding of our sense of self, our sense of soul, our sense of personal power, harnessing our willpower to step towards what we are knowing that we need to do when it comes to our contribution to the twin flame mission in the world. We all have our own unique mission, and I think that's it. So we get passion, and that's where we're at, right? That's where I'm at. All of this passion, this remembrance of all of these intense, passionate desires and emotions that have been lied dormant for me. And so a rebalancing of this passion is definitely assisting us for sure, because the passion is intense. The passion is intense. And we're being asked to move from the chaos to the calm. And we do that by going into the core, right? Into the core. So get ready for some type of tantric journey, sexual healing, to unlock some hidden knowledge. Intricate tantric sexual journey coming up here is what it feels like, that will allow us to reach a higher level of wholeness and completion through this sexual, sensual experience. Definitely an experience with you and another is what it feels like. And this is, yeah, sexual healing, romantic love, and communication. So, yeah, there is a whole new frequency of romance supporting the divine feminine right now on her journey to wholeness and completeness. And so I do feel there is a conscious lover that is coming as some sort of intimate catalyst. And this experience is going to bring forward some deep-seated reflection and healing, and it's going to just restore your overall faith, I feel, in the journey. So 29, a major cycle coming to a close. Communication. 14, I feel the feminine is free to seek this exchange. I do feel the feminine is free to seek this exchange and harmonize everything else accordingly to her senses, through her heart, through her center of truth. So stay in the flow of source. There is definitely a balanced exchange of sexual healing coming forward for the divine feminine, I feel. It's like this energy of this person can just run their fingers over every piece of information of your soul. And so there is like a reciprocal ingoing, outgoing exchange, I feel, happening. And this can come in many different forms for the divine feminine. But I do feel karmic freedom for the ability for this exchange. And then we get the root chakra and the throat chakra. So I do feel this is the frequency of saying, act now, think later. Speak up now or forever hold your peace, right? And so stimulating passion again, which is, I feel, is really bring forward this fear when it comes to this sense of lack of security for the divine masculine on the physical plane. And I do feel he can feel the feminine's body getting closer to another in the physical world. And so this is like saying, speak up, speak up. And I do feel a higher level of consciousness. There's that conception that I felt. So the emergence of a new conception, new wonderment, new wanderlust. These new higher multidimensional aspects I feel are showing up in our reality right now, as the energy supports this higher frequency of consciousness. So let's get a few tarot cards. Let's kind of bring it back down to earth. Healing from a missed opportunity is what I'm feeling. Healing from a money mindset where we've lacked abundance, where we've not believed that anything is possible. So I feel the feminine sent out a call. She sent out a wish. She trusted that, you know, her heart would bring to her what she needed in the right moment. And I do feel the feminine is receiving some type of wish being granted in the energies. So I don't know how we're going to do this. Let's just attune the energies right now. We're just going to pull general energies. What's coming through for the twins? What can we expect for the twins with this karmic lesson playing out? Okay, we get the Ace of Swords reversed, the Five of Swords reversed. So that's kind of the energy of something coming back. Six of Swords reversed. This is clinging to an old mindset. Ooh, Five of Wands. I do feel this is the masculine struggle in the mind space. It's like he's in this internal war zone, facing his inner demons, still living in a state of denial, but there's those walls, those barriers come crashing down. We're at a crossroads, right? So there is this energy of like Six of Swords in reverse. There's the spiraling thought processes. I feel the masculine is going down hard because it is time to make that decision, right? Act now, think later. And so the walls are coming down. The feminines release this protective bubbles. I do feel the feminine is open to receiving. It's kind of like the feminine might have 7 offers coming in, and the masculine's like fighting with all of his internal demons. You know, there's the self-sabotaging. I feel he's like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Haunted, right? Spirit's like, make a move, make a move. But I just feel all of this stuckness coming through, healing that abandonment wound, like all trapped up in his head. Probably think like, how do I go back? I can't look the feminine in the face. I walked away from her. I left her broken at rock bottom. I abandoned her. But I do feel there is like this energy of ascension. I do feel that Uranus and Taurus with the sun aspecting Uranus, this is bringing in a major shakeup. This is like the spiritual path being illuminated. The Hierophant on this card is like, wow, this is like, you know, just that's like a spiritual awakening, I feel. And this is triggering that core wound, that core inner child, the healing, right? And so I do feel like as the feminine finds her fire, finds her flame to go towards one last romantic cycle, this is triggering an ascension activation. That's what it feels like, coming out of the abandonment, the fear of rejection. But I do feel like still this resistance to looking at it, because it was supposed to lead to a family legacy of some sort. So family legacy is in focus, and this is what we're manifesting. Family legacies. So I do feel this is also the energy of family secrets coming out in this moon cycle, because it is also connected to the 4th house of Cancer. And what I want to say ancestrally, from the many sessions that I do, hundreds and hundreds of clients I've worked with, there's always some type of third party situation within a family bloodline, some type of cheating scenario. And so we're healing this for our ancestors as well. So this is like the past coming back to haunt somebody when it comes to a missed opportunity. So I do feel the energy is very nostalgic. Maybe the masculines, you know, having a lot of childhood nostalgia come up when it comes to this union. There is potential for union, but there is going to be some type of exposure and release when it comes to the past betrayal. There's that new beginning. So I do feel whether it's the divine masculine that comes forward or an unexpected soulmate that comes forward, get ready to receive unexpected communication. This is going to spark new ideas, a next level of learning. I just feel like the masculines that have chosen to awaken, they are rising to the occasion. It's checkmate time, baby. And that's kind of what I feel for the twins moving forward. So, wow. That's what I got, guys. I hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or a soulmate reading with me, I do encourage you to check out that description box below. And I do look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you.